Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be taking a deep look at Barcelona versus Napoli at the Stadio Olimpico. Now, the yellow marbles will be representing Barcelona, then the white marbles will be representing Team Napoli. So we'll start off with the tactical breakdown of how Barcelona intended to attack Team Napoli through the transition of plays. Now, starting from the build-up of Barcelona, Barcelona used two types of build-up in this game against Napoli. That was the first phase of build-up and that of the second phase of build-up. Looking at the first phase of build-up, when the ball gets to the goalkeeper, Ter Stegen, the two central defenders actually give the left and right support to the goalkeeper, allowing the two fullbacks in the likes of Jules Koundé, who today played as the right back, and João Cancelo, who also actually filled in that left back role. He was very vital in this game. As the video moves on, I'll show you the impact João Cancelo actually brought into this game against Napoli. In this setup, when the back four of Barcelona is being assumed, this is the back four here, it's being assumed. The next thing they do in the build-up to actually disrupt the shape of Team Napoli is to form that magic box. The magic box is being seen in this modern era because of the meta being changed from a typical 4-3-3 build-up to a 4-2-4 build-up. In this magic box, the two players that actually satisfy or make that magic box complete is the hub of the team, who is now playing as a typical destroyer in the likes of Andres Christiansen, who assumes the left side of the defensive midfielder. Then the right side of defensive midfielder becomes Gundogan, who becomes the controller of the team, or the moderator of Team Barcelona, creating that magic box infield here, which actually gives them a lot of solutions in terms of how Napoli actually presses them in their build-up phase. Now, the second thing that I observed in the game was how inclined Fermin Lopez was playing alongside Roberto Lewandowski. He was so much inclined instead of that convertible one, which was the horizontal balance. But this time around, it was rather a diagonal balance here between Fermin Lopez and that of Lewandowski. The reason is simple: if Lewandowski drops, which in this game he was doing much of dropping, we call them dropping forwards. They drop in order to pull their markers. So let's assume the back four of Team Napoli. If Lewandowski's marker is glued onto him in this area, if he moves into these channels to support the progression of Barcelona, it means he's moving away from his marker. Now, this marker has to either follow him in these areas, or when he moves, he stays glued, because there is this player here who can make that third man run. So this is exactly what Xavi wanted. This is exactly what Xavi wanted to exploit from the defensive lines of Team Napoli. So in case the defender, either Rahman, follows Roberto Lewandowski, then it means Fermin Lopez has that license to actually move into the pocket sizes. Now, in order to actually understand the wing play of Team Barcelona, it was simple. In this game against Napoli, Lamine Yamal was the creative playmaker for Barcelona. He also was assuming other positions in the sense to actually help Barcelona in terms of build-up, because there were some times Barcelona faced some complex shapes of Team Napoli. It was difficult to break them down. So the only way they could disrupt the identity or the setup or the structure of Napoli was to use dropping forwards in order to just disrupt the shape of Team Napoli. It means this time around that wide back four becomes narrow, allowing Lewandowski to actually utilize this space, making it very unbearable for the setup of Napoli to actually keep up the pace of how Barcelona became slippery during the game. Now, this is the build-up phase of Barcelona in their first initial build-up. Now, looking at their second initial build-up, this was one interesting thing Barcelona kept doing, and it really worked for them in their first two goals. And I feel like Xavi Hernandez is really developing as a coach. Now, talking of their second build-up, when the ball actually gets out of their deep side, what Barcelona does so well is them using the 3-2-4-1 shape. And that 3-2-4-1 shape is where the positional superiority of Team Barcelona comes into play. in this case, Rafinha can move inside alongside Lewandowski, allowing João Cancelo to play as that equal left winger, meaning he vacates these areas. Then the La Salda Vallepiano concept comes into play, where Kabasi assumes this region, then Araujo assumes this region, then Jules Koundé can move inside here. When this formation is being formed, the defensive midfielder of the team, in the likes of Andres Christensen and that of Gundogan, now can actually be in this structure, forming that M shape. And it is this M shape that helped Barcelona a lot in progressing through that central channels of Napoli. They exploited the so well, which really helped them a lot. Now, in order to satisfy that 4 line, what was that 4 line? Now, if Rafinha is in this slot, in this region, and João Cancelo is coming here, the principles of Jogo de Position, positional play means that if a player comes here, this player has to vacate into this space, making Rafinha move into this half space, which is the left half space, playing as a mezzala in this case. So in this situation, Rafinha becomes that mezzala sinistra, allowing Fermin Lopez, who was the attacking midfielder of the team, to assume this area, which is also in that half space on the right hand side of the pitch, making him the mezzala destra, meaning at this point in time, Barcelona has satisfied the principle of possessional play, where the 5 vertical channels in attack has been actually filled up. So it makes it so much easy for Barcelona to go wide, central, or even go long with Lewandowski, making Barcelona very silky and unpredictable to play through. So the M shape in the build-up of Barcelona really helped them a lot. Now, fast forward, let's move to what actually Napoli also did on the pitch of play. Now, talking of Team Napoli, all they were doing throughout the game was called adaptation. They kept adapting to the shape of Barcelona in the sense that they knew it was going to be very difficult for them in that game. So they needed to utilize their danger men. And one thing that actually let Napoli down was how down and inactive Kvaratskhelia was in this game against Barcelona. He actually didn't come much into life in the first half and that's of the second half. And I felt he shouldn't have been substituted long before, whilst Napoli was in search of that goal. Now, looking at the 4-3-3 nature of Team Napoli, this is how they operated. Napoli was very sophisticated in the sense that Barcelona didn't let them settle in the first 15 minutes, where Barcelona were able to net their first goal. The intention was so clear in the sense that Barcelona would use that high press, that sky high pressing, to actually force these 2 center backs to come long. And them coming long, they know they have Victor Osimhen, who can act as a target man. But in this case, he had no support around him. So most often, Barcelona kept winning the second balls, and that was to the disadvantage of Napoli. Now, looking at Napoli's transition play to attack, this is where I found it very interesting with Calzano, who was the head coach, who was the former head coach for Slovakia, now acting as the caretaker for Napoli. He knows a lot about his team because he has been assistant coach for Napoli under Maurizio Sarri and that of Spalletti. So he has that winning mentality and he knows the players well. But in this game, I feel like position-wise, Team Barcelona were the better side. And one thing that actually made it's so much complex for Napoli to build out from their back was them not providing adequate support to the player on the ball. Now, let's say on the right hand side, Ramani has the ball. If Ramani has the ball, this player is too wide away from this player, meaning this channel, he needs to go long or he has to go for that thing ball. But in football, there are 3 supports. We have the angle of 45 degrees, which is the left diagonal, and the right diagonal. Meaning, at this point in time, this becomes the 45 degrees, the 45 degrees. Then we have the vertical channel, forming the 90 degrees angle. Barcelona actually tried as much as possible to use their cover shadow to block these angles and force them to play central, since they were having that MW shape in midfield, which actually swallowed that play of Team Napoli infield, and they were utilizing much of that 6-second rule. When they lose the ball, they win the ball back within 6 seconds, and it helped Barcelona to keep regaining possession. And that was one thing I take for Xavi Hernandez. So this was the initial problem that Napoli were facing in their build-up. That resulted in Napoli always coming long, but that second balls they couldn't battle for it. Now moving into the attacking phase of Napoli, then we'll end the video, then we enjoy the next one in Team Arsenal, and that of FC Porto. Now looking at the transition play from Napoli, one exciting thing in the second half that Calzano did was to allow Kvaratskhelia to play alongside Victor Osimhen, because Victor Osimhen needed a helper. When he vacates this space into this central channel, it means it becomes a two front men up here. Then Politano becomes that roaming winger who keeps pushing up into those pocket sizes. So he had that free role to exploit the right hand side of their attack. Now on the left hand side here, who fills this region? It is Rui, who was playing as that decoy winger. So most often he wasn't in this area. It was Juan who was actually filling in this gap for him, this temporal spaces for him, in order for him to play higher up the pitch. And in this shape, that decoy winger role really helped them a lot, because Napoli were using one strategy in attack, which we call the enveloping. When we talk of enveloping, it is a tactical word for quality crosses. They were searching for players like Victor Osimhen with that outswinger, for Victor Osimhen to actually hump on. But you have this Testegen who was really active in this game. That's what he was always in the right spots to actually go for the high claim. So I think that was one thing that stick for Barcelona in their defensive angles. Now the next thing that Rui was doing was the cutbacks. Him playing those cutbacks to Kvaratskhelia, but Kvaratskhelia again wasn't alive in this game. Now looking at Anguissa, who had a bad game, I feel like he didn't get that good game he normally gets, because he was the moderator for Team Napoli, but he lost a lot of possession and it really didn't help. Now looking at how he was utilizing his right backs, making this emergency underlaps and that of emergency overlaps was one thing that kept squeezing the shape of Barcelona, and that was how they actually got that equalizer. But I feel like position wise, superiority wise, then qualitative wise, Barcelona were on top, and that is why they actually got that result 3-1 in the Stadium Olimpico. And guys, thank you very much for supporting me. Like, subscribe and comment. See you in the next video. Bye.